So, what city is Trump going to take over next? All right. He took over DC, calmed it down. And that's like a model that other cities can follow, using the Federal Reserve to calm things down. Let's take a look at Jesse Waters Primetime talking about the issue, because some people are scared, some people in blue states. So left-wing maniacs are scared that Trump is coming, while others are celebrating it, clapping it up. By the way, my name is Noel, here at Verbal on Life, trying to bring you the latest news and what's going on so you can get some real reporting, not that fake news. Oh, by the way, give this video a thumbs up before you go anywhere. Let me not forget to say that and stick to the end. Take a look.
Parents are willing to drop thousands of dollars on clothes, jewelry, even rush consultants.
I might want it more than Emily. If I need a fake cake.
Let me pause it because Jesse Waters Primetime haven't started yet. The show starts in 3 minutes. It's almost 8 o'clock. So this is the pregame. And you know how it is. You got to do a pregame before the actual game starts. All right. So let me just fill you in on what's going on with Trump. Because some people on the left-wing media are scared that Trump is succeeding in everything he does. And then they're calling it dangerous, that he's not really trying to fix anything, that Trump is looking to take over this country. So you should be scared. I don't know, man, but I don't believe that narrative, because where's Trump going? The man is in his 80s, old dude who seems to be doing everything great, closing down the borders, stopping wars across the world, calming down DC, which was a hellhole. DC was scary, basically. If you go there, you better tuck in your chain and carry no money with you, because there's a high probability you will get robbed. Now, I grew up in Harlem. Harlem is scary. And hopefully Trump will go take care of Harlem or New York City. And when we're talking about any city, we're not talking about the nice areas, right? We're talking about the real tough areas where the quote unquote real people live or the real maniacs live. That's where people need to go. And so if Trump sends people there, I think those cities that don't call on Trump to help, hopefully they're going to suffer when it comes to voting. And they're not going to get the vote that they're looking for. Like right now, there's another thing happening where Republicans are getting more and more voters, and the Democrats are actually losing voters. So more and more people are waking up to the reality. My phone is ringing. Hold on. What a rare call. That's my mother on the other line. I'm just going to ignore it for now because I'm trying to stream. All right, let's see if Jesse Waters Primetime is on. No, not yet. They're doing the other show before the actual Jesse Waters Primetime. So let me finish up what I was saying. I think any city that uses Trump to calm things down and lower the crime rate, any Democratic city, because right now he's doing it to DC, because legally he could do it to DC. But any other city that takes up the offer and uses Trump, there's no way that other blue cities are going to say no, or they're going to look bad. And again, they're going to pay for it at the voting booth. Nobody's going to vote for them because everybody's going to see the truth, right? That these politicians do not want crime to go down. They do not want to get rid of all the evil people in their community. They want to come off as helpful. They want to come off like they're doing something. All right, hold on.
On social media. Have a great weekend. It's America Now and Forever. Jesse's next.
All right, let's take a look.
So welcome to a special edition of Jesse Waters Primetime. As you can tell, I'm not Jesse. I'm Brian Kilmeade. We got a big show tonight. We're learning more about the Catholic school shooting yesterday. that left 2 kids dead, 20 injured in Minneapolis. 15 of those injuries were between the ages of 6 and 15. And middle schoolers were shielding younger kids with their own bodies as bullets were piercing through the windows of the church.
We've got a great tradition at the school of, it's a buddy system of middle schoolers with the kids. And so everybody goes to Mass, gets assigned a buddy the first week, say like a first and a third grader is a 7th grader. And so you walk to Mass with your buddies hand in hand, you sit next to them in Mass hand in hand. And when those shots rang out, according to our kids and people there, is the first heroic instinct of our middle schoolers was to push the buddies down, get them under the pews.
Wow.
And as a result, that's why a lot of the injuries were of middle schoolers that put little kids before themselves.
Wow.
And then they jumped under and covered the little kids under the pews. So there's heroism and selflessness all over this thing.
I mean, those are the types of things that Navy SEALs do. Those kids are heroes. You got 116 rifle rounds and 3 shotgun shells were recovered at the scene of the crime. There was also a live round in the handgun. The chief of the Minneapolis Police Department says the firearm seems to have malfunctioned and the bullet got stuck in the chamber. Police executed 4 search warrants yesterday, digging to get as much information about the shooter as possible. We'll give you as much as we can, and they still have not come up with a motive. I imagine that will come soon. What police do know is that the shooter attended that very school, went to Mass at that very church regularly, and his mom used to work at that parish. But the answer might be in his manifesto.
The shooter left behind hundreds of pages of writings that describe the shooter's plan, writings that describe the shooter's mental state, and more than anything, writings that describe the shooter's hate. The shooter expressed hate towards Black people. The shooter expressed hate towards Mexican people. The shooter expressed hate towards Christian people. The shooter expressed hate towards Jewish people. In short, the shooter appeared to hate all of us.
So the U.S. Attorney of Minnesota says he had sick fantasies as well.
More than anything, the shooter wanted to kill children, defenseless children. The shooter was obsessed with the idea of killing children. The shooter saw the attack as a way to target our most vulnerable among us while they were at their most vulnerable at school and at church.
So this guy should never have been near any church, and these kids should be alive today. Now, in Russian Cyrillic, the shooter wrote his manifesto that he was tired of being trans. This is his words. He also regretted brainwashing himself and wanted to detransition, but was too scared because it would be, in his words, admitting defeat. Now, we've seen this time and time and again. Just how dangerous is this industry, so to speak? Yesterday, a whistleblower from the Gender Center told us she felt like she was tearing apart families.
So I actually participated in medicalizing young people for almost 5 years. And what I saw was that we were harming these kids. They were not getting better. Often their mental health was getting worse. We were tearing apart families. And we also have to recognize that gender ideology tears apart other facets of our society. The ideology as a whole, to me, just became something that I felt like I was participating in harming the exact same patients that my job was supposed to be to protect, to make them better. I was making them worse.
So Democrats want to get to the root of the problem. They'd rather make it about politics. They don't want to get to the root of the problem. The mayor of Minneapolis says it's the guns.
We have more guns in America than we have people. The reality is that we have these assault rifles that can reel off 30 clips in conjunction with a magazine before the person even needs to reload. The reality is that these guns make their way into cities across America by the trunk load, and it's terrifying. And so, look, we need an assault weapons ban nationwide. We need to have this high-capacity magazine ban.
And guess what? He will not talk about. There's one thing. Watch.
Anybody that is going to use this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any community has lost touch with a common humanity.
All right. I know he knows that he's just avoiding that question. No one's villainizing. It's just reality. I have an idea, Mayor. Maybe we should focus on the people the shooter hated, like Catholics, Christians, Jews, and Trump, and not focus on vilifying the trans community. I've got some real questions here. It's not my opinion. He wrote it. But for some reason, Democrats are avoiding it, and I don't get it. Remember Nashville, when another trans shooter went inside a Christian school and started shooting. Now, we didn't get his manifesto for about 2 years. None of this is normal. Now, President Biden's former press secretary says, you can't even ask the questions I'm asking.
You're going to start seeing narratives. You're already seeing them. They're already out there about how the shooter was trans. You're going to see narratives about how the shooter appeared to be anti-Trump and anti-Semitic and clearly was in the midst of a mental health crisis. There's no question about that.
Right. So what is wrong with saying all those things because they're facts? Is there any doubt that this person wasn't in the midst of a mental health crisis? The shooter fantasized about the Sandy Hook massacre. He put Jesus' face on a bullseye and he shot at it and wrote messages on his weapon, mocking religion, calling for the death of more Jews and saying, kill, guess what? Donald Trump. And court documents said the shooter, born a male, identified as a female, changed officially at 17. So what about these narratives are not true? Why should we not be looking at these storylines to find out why this happened? The shooter was a trans hate monger going through a serious mental health crisis, but Democrats are crying for the wrong reasons.
Sorry, this is a tough one. Having your child killed while they are sitting in a pew for a morning prayer service is not what any parent should have to worry about. And I have felt a mixture of anger and a lot of anger and emotional exhaustion about this today, as I'm sure many of you have, because we have been here so many times. And yet again, like clockwork, half of the politicians in our country have little more to offer than thoughts and prayers. That is all they are offering. We have seen this play out over and over again. There is a shooting, then come the thoughts and prayers, and then comes the attempt to shift the focus. This is what always happens.
What is she talking about? Can we finally get the motive? Can we find out why this person did what they did? Shift what focus? The White House wants Jen to show some respect. Listen.
I saw the comments of my predecessor, Ms. Psaki, and frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer.
Right. That's somebody holding themselves together. All right. She was falling apart, Jen Psaki. Now, Democrats want to talk about everything but the problem. But the problem is Democrats have been encouraging an emotional disorder. Think about it. The governor and mayor turned Minneapolis into a trans sanctuary city. His words, not mine.
Minnesota ranks the highest per capita for being a safe haven for transgender individuals in Minnesota.
Well, you wanted him, you got him. Meanwhile, he was ignoring the real problems at home. Like, for example, in 2023, when the governor got a letter from a private school saying we need more security, that's after the shooting in 2022 at the Christian school over in Tennessee. They said it was urgent. It's a critical need. That's 3 years ago. Waltz didn't do anything about it. Now, after a trans shooter kills 24 or shoots 24 and sent dozens to the hospital, now he wants to do something about it. Governor Waltz today announced he's deploying more law enforcement to protect schools. Really? We still have to address the other elephant in the room, how a mentally ill individual with so-called gender dysphoria could be allowed to run wild. And this isn't just a one-off. Mentally ill kids are being operated on all over the country. Remember, Bobby Kennedy, HHS secretary, is taking the first step to address it.
At NIH, we're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence. You know, many of them on there have black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. So we can't exclude those as a culprit, and those are the kind of studies that we're doing.
Yeah, he was on with us at Fox and Friends this morning. On the box, it says could homicidal deviation or suicide. If that's on the box, I'm probably not taking it. What about you? The shooter Robert Westman, changed his name to Robin, was a deeply mentally ill individual. He had gender dysphoria. May not be the sole reason for opening fire on church, saying it did, but it certainly played a role. Shouldn't we find out what types of hormones or drugs he was on? And to downplay it or ignore it entirely, to me, it's kind of dangerous when the facts are staring you right in the face, and we're still trying to put the puzzle together. Now, Pamela Garfield Yeager is the author of A Practical Response to Gender Distress and joins us now. So do you think that we should not be bringing up the trans element to this shooter?
Oh, I certainly think we should be bringing that up. This is something that we know people who are trans-identified have underlying mental health issues. Clearly, this man was disturbed, and we have not done any exploration. In fact, it seems the media and the people who are addressing this are completely ignoring that fact. And according to them, they're misgendering him because he changed his identity at age 17 from the name Robert to Robin. So I think that the public should know that they have been told that this is a care that's supposed to save lives, yet this is a man that has killed himself and shot at dozens of children under the care of gender affirming.
Do you know about the drugs, the psychiatric drugs that Robert Kennedy was referring to, that people who want to transition go and take? Can you tell us about them?
Well, oftentimes people who are trans-identified are on some kind of psychotropic drugs. I believe what he was referring to was SSRIs, which do have that black box warning, especially for teenagers, although he was in his early 20s, but this is the time where young adults, when they take these antidepressants, they can become either homicidal or suicidal. I believe that's what he was referring to. So that we have that. And then people who usually are trans-identified are taking cross-sex hormones, which usually has a direct impact on that person's mood and mental state.
Yeah, we don't know what this person was on. The shooter was.
We
on.
don't know.
Yeah, so I'm not saying, but you just assume if they're going to go through this, and he also talked about regrets, that he wished he didn't do it. He wished he didn't brainwash himself. How unique is that regret aspect?
Well, the people who believe in the transgender people, the trans activists, they'll say that that's very rare, that that's only 1%. However, we're hearing every single day from new people that express regret. We call them detransitioners. We don't know if this man has fully let go of the ideology, but he certainly did express regret. And I believe it is very common, and we won't know about it because once they do express regret, they are ostracized from the trans community, and also they are not tracked. So we really don't have the numbers on that. However, we know that plenty of people have come forward and told us that they regret it.
Yeah, and by the way, do you think this is significant? In his writings, he said he would, if he went and transitioned back, if that indeed is possible, he would admit defeat.
Yeah, I believe that's, I mean, I don't know him. I did watch his videos. He seems to have narcissistic traits, and someone who is narcissistic, they do not want to admit defeat, as he called it. They have a strong ego, and I believe it has to do with that. But really, anybody who goes through something and believes strongly that this is their entire identity and their entire worldview, it's earth-shattering to figure out that they've been lied to this entire time, especially as such a young person, and that they regret it.
And for some reason, it all ended up, he thought the best thing for him to do would be kill children. It is so twisted, I can't even get my head around it.
It's very twisted.
Pamela,
I can't understand it.
Either can I. Pamela, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Who keeps sending? We'll talk with Pam again. Who keeps sending Gavin Newsom MAGA hats? A primetime investigation. Don't move.
That's the worst case scenario. That's like the ultimate bully to go at kids. That's insane, incomprehensible. But that narrative that we got to help mentally ill people, I think more and more people are waking up. That narrative is not true. It's not working. That mayor that was talking, hopefully more people are waking up and seeing the nonsense that he's talking about. These are people with mental health issues that need help. Somebody got to put in the work and actually work to fix this person's brain. It's like you just can't say you're born a man and just say, I feel like a dog. I am a dog now. And what? People are going to applaud it and help you out to be a dog? So it's the same idea on being a girl. Like if you're born a man, you're a man. Any fantasies you got, that's on you. But ain't nothing in the world going to transition you. So that narrative just got to go out the window. All these people talking about transitioning are just people that are screaming out for help. And again, that narrative of putting trans in a category of people that need help, ultimately it's a lie. I mean, they need help, of course, but not the kind of help that we're giving them, not a supportive role, not that we need to applaud it and clap it up and say, yeah, you're strong. Keep pushing to turn into a woman. No, the kind of help they need is therapy, all right? Psychiatric help. Insane. In any case, this is Jesse Waters Primetime that we're watching. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed the show, give it a thumbs up. That first section was a little tough because, wow, what is the second time a crazy somebody transitioning takes that out on kids? And that's the worst case scenario, man. I got children. People who got kids, they know that that's the scariest thing, to know that your kids are in trouble. So let me fast forward past the commercials.
Dual action relief, soothing.
Whoops. I'm just going to play the show and not play any commercials. So while the commercial plays, just hold on for a second. And again, let me give you guys my thought, that the fact that, where do I go here? Again, the left-wing narrative is going away. People are waking up. I mean, comment down below, what do you think? Hopefully more and more people waking up. It shows in the ballot and people don't vote for them. So like that's going to be the number one wake-up call, when people don't vote for them. And people call them liars to their face. Like, no, we're not going to applaud or support maniacs. We're going to help them get back to normal. And what's normal? You're born a man, you're a man. You're born a woman, you're a woman. All right? Any other thought is a delusion. I think they call people who are delusional to have schizophrenia. And having schizophrenia is not the end of the world. It's just an obstacle that particular person got to go through. And that's it. Look for help. Look to get better. But it's not the end of the world, you know? So delusions is called being schizophrenic. So that's one of the obstacles that person faces. And hopefully more and more people are waking up. And that's a sad story. What that maniac did to kids. Like, take it out on yourself first before thinking of hurting anybody else. In my opinion, I mean, it's sad if you just take it out on yourself, but it's better than taking it out on other people and yourself. Because after he killed those kids, man, he ended up losing it and killing himself. That's like, again, worst case scenario. Let's all be honest. All right, let me see if the commercials are over so we can go ahead and move on. My goal here is not to play the commercials. So in any case, like I said before, if you're still watching, give it a thumbs up. All right, let's keep this channel alive. Hopefully we get more and more likes. And that's all I really ask for. Subscribe if you want to, but number one is the likes. Just hit the like button. All right, and let's keep the show on the road. My name is Noel. I'm over here living in Pennsylvania with my son and his mother. His mother suffers from schizophrenia, but all I do is help her. And that's it. Help her with her medicine and whatever she needs. So it's not foreign to me. It's normal to help people that need the help. Wow, these commercials take forever. All right. The only thing that I cannot stream are the commercials because I will end up getting a strike. So let's avoid the commercials and just keep talking about what's going on with politics. Again, we need to get rid of the left-wing media narrative that just keeps supporting these maniacs. Oh, and yeah, weapons. We don't need to get rid of weapons. It's not the weapons' fault. I think everybody has heard this before, but I want to repeat it. It's the maniac holding the weapons. Those are the ones we gotta like not give them weapons. And then if those maniacs end up with a weapon, I want to find out how. Who tested them? Who said it's okay for them to have a weapon? Those people got to get in trouble. Like if that guy's mom got him those guns, she needs to get in trouble. Whoever authorized a maniac having a gun needs to get in trouble. So that's another investigation. We got to find out how did that guy end up with so many weapons. And nobody said anything. Nobody called the cops and said, yo, he keeps buying guns and then making videos online with the guns. You see what I'm saying? That's where the money needs to go. And monitoring people that have weapons. All right, here we go.
After hearing that, resigned in protest when they heard the news. But then Menarez says she isn't leaving. Her lawyers claim the firing isn't legitimate. What about those people that left in her wake? I don't want to slow her down. Meanwhile, Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, got fired. Well, she's not leaving. She's suing to keep her job. Now it's in the court hands. It's bizarre. We'll keep you updated on these stories. Meanwhile, are you a panicant? If so, shield your eyes. The Dow hit an all-time high. The S&P, same story. NASDAQ.
Hold on, let me pause for a little bit. I just noted the comments. I didn't see the comments till now. By Cats. Smile, baby, why the long face? Yeah, right. I got to smile a couple of times. What is your favorite donut place? Of course, Dunkin' Donuts. That's where everybody goes. And ultimately, you downvoted because you didn't reply to me. Again, I'm just noticing the messages right now. So switch that downvote to an upvote. All right. Thank you for the comment. Let's keep watching.
Near record high. Kind of good news, right? Pelosi soaking it all up like vintage Cabernet. Now, NVIDIA has a monster earnings report. The golden age is sitting right in front of us. I think we're experiencing it. Let it come in. Now, gas prices for Labor Day weekend, cheapest since 2020. I assume you're going to go away because of that. And the economy went from strong to stronger. CNBC almost had a heart attack.
Second quarter GDP are now hitting the wires. 3% was our last look. It now jumps up to 3.3%. But from a comp basis, that would still be the best quarter since September of 23.
How many papers was he holding, by the way? He must have been a waiter. So it was at 3%, and that was pretty cool. And now 3.3% is good news for the country.
It's going up, record high. I wish I had stocks. Thank you, Roadcast, for upvoting. I really appreciate it. It keeps this channel alive. All right. Krispy Kremes are good, but in PA, I don't know where they are at. That's a New York City thing. So I'm not going to New York City to get Krispy Kreme.
The numbers don't lie. Putting America first works.
American workers are once again being put at the center of national trade policy, and the dignity of American labor is being defended. As a result, President Trump has already brought in nearly $10 trillion in new private and foreign investments. In a stark reversal from the Biden administration, all of that job creation has been driven by private sector growth, and all employment gains have gone to native-born Americans.
Imagine. So while America's booming, Democrats are holding their summer intervention. You hear about this? They even wrote themselves a fight song. Primetime obtained the lyrics. I won't sing it. I'll read it, kind of like a rapper, because that's where I come from. Those are my roots. DEMS, we rise stronger together. Heard that phrase before. Blue skies, lift your voice. All right. There's probably another phrase, but we don't have much time in the show. The only thing missing is Tim Walz and his pom-poms. I'm sure he was having a great time clapping for everybody who showed up in Minneapolis, where he is governor. This wasn't the only headliner from the intervention. We told you about the land acknowledgement that they opened up with. They demanded that Walz give Minneapolis back to Pocahontas and her tribe. Spoiler alert, at the end of the convention, they don't give it up. But Jim Carville, that's what they call him if you're friendly with him, caught wind of this and exploded.
Are you bringing this up in an election? Okay? This is an election, and the DNC is not the place to discuss this. Understand this. The DNC does not exist to right wrongs.
You're good on
about
that.
land theft from the Dakotas. We're not. Please stop this in the name of a just, merciful God. What is Ken Martin doing that? You don't have but one job, Ken. It's to win. You're supposed to try to win elections.
I love this line. Please don't do this in the name of a just and merciful God. It is crazy that they're still doing this. Newsom likes the cut of Carville's jib. He's ready to hit low.
Wake up, everybody. Wake up.
Let me ask you about a couple.
Excuse me, and I know it's impolite. We have to be more calm and demure.
Couple of your own.
But I'm not calm, and I'm not going to submit myself to niceties. Not when this guy's trying to wreck our country.
He's an actor. That's all he is. Gav's got more fire in him when his state was up in flames, it seems. Now Newsom's furious he can't slurp his alphabet soup.
Why did I go on Sean Hannity's show? Why did I go to that debate? Because I was sick and tired of being on the receiving end of CRT, ESG, DEI, IRS, EPA, anything with 3 damn letters. Somehow these guys were shape-shifting, and they were just surround sound grievance, and we were responding to that.
So I don't get it. Is he saying that those things are bad? Was he sticking up for him? I watched the debate. He had nothing to say about that because you can't justify any of it. And whoever is sending Gavin red hats that read Trump 2028, you got to stop it now. He is losing his hair over it.
I don't think Donald Trump wants another election. You think for a second you want... I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
And you think he's going to run again?
Don't give me. Who spends $200 million on a ballroom at their home and then leaves?
Okay, a couple other things. They laughed at him, Gavin. They're laughing at you. So do dictators hold conventions to showcase the future of the party? Because that's what Donald Trump is doing. He's calling for a mini RNC before the midterms. Let the fun begin. Editor-in-Chief of the Federalist, Molly Hemingway, joins us now. Molly, what do you take of the Gavin Newsom meltdown? It seems very theatrical.
It's very theatrical, but it lacks substance. And that's kind of the entire problem that Democrats have right now. They look at how Donald Trump has a lot of popular appeal. Gavin Newsom has been trying to copy his communication style. He says that he's going to be meaner. He doesn't realize, and this is a mistake that a lot of people, critics of Trump, have made, whether they're on left and right, that the people support Trump because they like the policies that he is pushing. And until Democrats figure out how to deal with that problem, that the policies that they're pushing are considered very toxic by a lot of Americans, they're not going to have greater electoral success.
You know, I just want to show you the polls, though. So people will say, well, Gavin Newsom, he's not going to make any gains. But so far, in this latest poll, Politico that put out, Newsom on the Democratic side leads Harris 25-19. Mayor Pete is 13, AOC is 10, and Walz is at the bottom. Can't believe he's even up there. So your thoughts about Newsom? He's probably saying, wow, the Dems like me. They really like me. So I'm going to keep this up.
Well, the problem is that what it takes to win the Democrat nomination, he's got down. He really understands that, and he should. He's the governor of California, which is a place where a lot of the left-wing base exists. But it's completely the opposite of what you need to have if you want to win a national election. And so he's catering to that far left fringe of his party, the ones that will give him that nomination. And then he's hoping that he can just pivot once he gets the nomination into being a somewhat more coherent, moderate person. The problem is he has that same issue that Kamala Harris had. In many ways, he's just like a white male version of Kamala Harris. The policies that he has embraced throughout his career, there's tape of that, and they can play it throughout the entire campaign.
Yeah, they also have numbers, and numbers don't lie. For example, when he took over in 2019, the homeless population was 151,000. He said he was going to get that down. He's going to attack the homeless situation. He increased it 23%. The state budget, he had a surplus of $21 billion. Good job. Oops, I'm looking now. He's now minus $11.8 billion. So usually when you go into a deficit from a massive surplus, that's bad. So if you're looking at the other side of the baseball card, he's doing pretty terrible in terms of people leaving one of the finest states in the world. I mean, it's got so much to offer. Everybody had a California dream. Now it's a tax nightmare. In 2019, they lost 208,000. Now they have lost for his 5 years, 1.67 million, the largest exodus from the state ever. This is a terrible record.
And Brian, you think about who those people are who are leaving. It's usually the middle class that has been just completely kicked out of California. And that's who you need to win a national election. That's who you need in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania. These policies have been very bad for California. He has been a vocal supporter of them throughout his career. But the one thing he does also have, he's willing to lie about it. So he's hoping that he can just lie about his record.
Well, you know what they're going to see, Molly? If they have a real primary, like the last one was really Obama against Hillary, he'll get on the stage and he'll get blasted. And he's got to have a real answer. And before he answers the Republicans and Donald Trump, who he's obsessed with, he's got to answer other Democrats who also want the nomination. Should be interesting. Molly Hemingway, always great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, coming up, we'll talk about really interesting history, liberty, and laughs. Sponsored by Fox Nation. We're going to stream it September 27th. People are saying it's the best show ever. That's what they're saying. On the 27th, we'll bring history to life. And also November 1st in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Go to briankilmeade.com, or you can sit at home and stream it live. Meanwhile, another mini immigrant just got iced. Wait till you see him.
All right. I'm going to pause for the commercial. Cannot put it on stream here. But yeah, Gavin Newsom, he should run for president. You know, he's going to take a big L and not win, but that will be a good race because the man is just a good actor. And I have no clue how he's going to convince Democrats or the far left Democrats who are in charge of the party at this time. It's like the left wing media just keep doing what they say. And we all know that they support things that are crazy, in my opinion. But let me know what you think. Comment down below. Do you think that the left wing media are doing a good job? I don't know, man, because at the end of the day, people want the center, politicians to be at the center, like they say, not left wing, not right wing, but just center, right? Stop going the crazy route, supporting these maniacs, these transsexual maniacs. And if you're a transsexual maniac, yes, you need help. I'll say that much. Because at the end of the day, sorry, I had to take a deep breath. At the end of the day, it's a mental concern, and the Democrats got to stop saying that it's okay. We're going to support you, whatever mindset you're at. It's okay, even when it's not. Finally, the truth is coming out. You're born a man, you're a man. You're born a girl, you're a girl. And anybody watching things differently, yeah, that just means you need support. You need help, mental health issues. I mean, you got mental health issues and you need the support, which I think you should support. By the way, my name is Noel. If you're just tuning in, remember to give this video a thumbs up. All right, give it a like. Let's try to get the like button pressed so like that we could get more and more viewers and get the word out that we are trying to be fair. We're not right wing or left wing. We're just down the middle. Here we go. We're just common sense. I like that, the common sense party. All right. Don't have to live life in fear that Trump is going to take over and destroy every city. I hope they talk about that next. The fact that Trump is just rolling out, bringing down crime across America, starting with DC. He went over there and just stopped crimes, and now it's a little bit better. Next, I don't think he's legally allowed to go to other cities, but I'm sure he's going to offer himself. So then the Democratic city mayors and governors are going to say no. And then that's when the people that live in those cities are going to say, why not? Please send help. These people out here are crazy. Like, I grew up in New York City, Harlem, and it's insane. You got to watch your mouth. And when you got to live like that, man, the criminals are running the streets. Let's be honest, keep it real. When you're just afraid to even put your opinion out there, because the criminals are taking over. Insane. All right, let me see if the commercials are gone. And we'll go. Oh, yes, we're back. Here we go.
This is the one who can fix nearly anything and turns to Granger, who has almost everything.
Wait, that's still a commercial. Sorry about that. How do I get past this? Again, we're streaming Jesse Waters Primetime here, and here we go.
I heard Brandon Johnson say a couple of weeks ago, Chicago was one of the safest cities in America. Why do you have a security detail? Why don't you get rid of it? Earlier this year, my husband was carjacked right in front of our house. And so if you ask me, if you ask any victim of a violent crime, how they feel about crime in the city of Chicago, any of us will tell you that we are not safe, that we don't feel safe.
Yep. The governor, though, thinks it's a big joke.
It doesn't feel like a hellhole here. In fact, everybody's having a great time and enjoying themselves. So I don't know who in Washington thinks that Chicago is some sort of hellhole, but you may need to look inward.
It's good to see him get some exercise, but my sense is he does not have a real grasp of reality. His constituents are not laughing.
The governor is floating down this river or whatever in a boat in Chicago yesterday talking about, look how peaceful it is. Me and my wife just walked for ice cream over the weekend. Yeah, you didn't walk down the city in the inner city. You didn't go where they're actually shooting and killing people. You went with your security guards.
Exactly, and they think we can't figure it out. We all figured it out, just like he did. President Trump wants to give the Windy City the D.C. treatment, but Chicago's favorite son says, well, he wants the madness to continue. This is what President Obama just put out. The erosion of basic principles like due process and the expanding use of our military and domestic soil puts the liberties of all Americans at risk and should concern Democrats and Republicans alike. Really? So Pritzker's digging his heels in, making the city suffer in spite of Trump.
I'm willing to go to Chicago, which is a big trouble, but we have a governor that refuses to admit he has problems. I mean, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. We could solve their problem in, it's bigger than this, let's say 2 months. Okay, working with their police. I know their police very well.
Help could be on the way. Now, if Chicago doesn't get it together soon, the president's going to step in to protect them, whether they like it or not. Former Chicago PD commissioner and special agent in charge at the FBI, Jody Weiss, joins us now. Jody, your thoughts about the president's offer, would you accept it?
Brian, in a heartbeat, how do you turn down free stuff? And I guess what always troubles me is what's the acceptable number of murders? It should be 0, but it seems to me like the governor and the mayor seem to think what's going on right now is fine. So of course you'd accept it. You've got to work it out, but it could make such an immediate impact in Chicago.
So Pritzker walks down a very popular, rich area and thinks he sent a message that Donald Trump's off base. That's not even a smart message. It's not even a good political play. Tell me about the block he was walking down.
He was walking right down by Museum Park, just outside of Grant Park, 6 o'clock in the morning. Of course, there's no crime going on there. That place is heavily patrolled. I would ask JB, how about walking Inglewood? How about going out to Austin? How about going to South Chicago at 11 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning? Without your security detail, maybe. Do you think you'd feel safe then? I'd be willing to bet no. But that's the people that he's supposed to serve every day. That's what they face every day, is the fear and violence of being shot or killed in their homes and communities.
So, Commissioner, let me ask you something. it looks like the police force is a little light. Not only are their hands tied, they're not allowed to chase people if they committed a crime because that person might run into traffic. But they're about, you say to me, and I heard this stat too, between 12 and 15,000 short of being manned up fully, having a force ready to fight. And yet they're turning down help from the federal government. How do you have a functioning force 12,000 people light?
Well, actually, Brian, the numbers, their normal staffing level is about 13,500. They're down a couple thousand. Well, what does that do? That takes away the ability for proactive policing. You've got cops now just following the radio, running from crime to crime to crime. That doesn't stop crime. You're chasing crime. If they're at full strength, they have the ability then to put proactive units on the street to search out crime, go to the hot spots, be a presence out there, make a difference. But goes back to what you say. You're down almost 20% of your police officers, and you don't want to take free resources from the President of the United States? Insanity.
And by the way, he says things are so great now, even though he's got 26% approval rating. That shows you what the people of Chicago think of their mayor. But look at these stats over the last 5 years. Yeah, it's true that as we put that up, murders are down. Congratulations, they're still way too high. You still lead the nation. And so are robberies. But felony theft between 21 and 25 are up 46%. Carjacking's up 80%. Misdemeanor theft, 61%. And how many crimes don't get recorded because the response time is so long, people don't even make the effort? That's the real number that should bother the mayor and really upset the governor.
Agreed. It's kind of like if I'm 5'10", if I balloon up to 300 pounds and then I tell you, hey, Brian, or drop 50 pounds, guess what? I'm still fat. So you can't lead the country in murders and say, we're doing a great job. Yeah, they made improvements and commendable, but there's so much work to be done. But this arrogant attitude of crime is just an accepted practice in the city, that's just so wrong.
Well, Mayor Bowser, to a degree, accepted the help, and she saluted the numbers. It got a lot better in D.C. Thanks so much, Commissioner. I appreciate it. Nice to see you again. Thanks for your service, keeping us safe. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom, to stop Donald Trump for flooding in help, he has now put the CBP in all major cities, in San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, and the Inland Empire. Does he understand that's the president's goal? Not to put National Guard there, but to bring safety and security to major cities, red and blue. Meanwhile, it's been 7 months since Donald Trump took office, and he's been working around the clock to clean up Joe Biden's biggest mess, the migrant crisis that's been plaguing our country, even though he's denied it for years. ICE has deported nearly 200,000 illegals since January, and over 1 million self-deported. They took the $1,000 and they went home. No bad hombre is safe. They've arrested 5,000 migrants in just Los Angeles, but it's a coast-to-coast effort. I'll give you an example. Polk County, Florida. Police arrested a Nicaraguan named Dennis Miranda. The migrant was all smiles, despite the fact the authorities charged him with a half dozen offenses. Let's go to San Diego. A mini migrant with multiple DUIs got iced while wearing a South Park T-shirt that says, I do whatever I want. Not anymore. You're done. And an illegal from Western Sahara got hauled out of New York City immigration court and still put up a fight, but he's in jail. DHS is taking some of the worst off the streets, but the media thinks ICE agents are the new Proud Boys.
They look a lot like the Proud Boys of Trump's last term. They're wearing masks, often wearing surplus military gear. They are recruited regardless of their qualifications and regardless now of their age. Now that Kristi Noem has removed the age restrictions for recruitment.
It's so insulting. Liberals have been making it as hard as possible for federal agents to deport illegals. Remember, the left thinks rapists and gang members deserve dignity and respect instead of jail time. That was said on camera, and you saw it on this show. Meanwhile, Holman and company care about the dignity of victims. So they're going full steam ahead, ramping up operations in New York, over in Los Angeles, Seattle, and Chicago. Listen.
But you can see a ramp up of operations in Chicago, absolutely. You're going to see a ramp up of operations in New York. You're going to see a ramp up of operations continue in LA. And, Portland, Seattle. I mean, all these sanctuary cities that refuse to work with ICE, where we know public safety threats are being released every day into this country, especially those cities, we're going to address that. We don't have that problem in Texas and Florida where all the sheriffs are working with us.
So acting ICE Director Todd Lyons deals with this every day. He's got to have his men and women go out there, and yet half of America is trying to vilify their efforts. How are you dealing with this, Todd? How do you deal with it on a daily basis?
I think the best thing, Brian, is the fact that the men and women of ICE are dedicated to the law enforcement mission. They're not going to be sidetracked, especially by these crazy radical leftists and, these people on the other side of the aisle, Democrats that are calling for violence against ICE agents and their family. They're proud of the law enforcement mission they do. We have the best leader under Secretary Noem. She's out there leading from the front. She's taking the handcuffs off of us. We have the best president. President Trump's making sure that with the big, beautiful bill, we have all the resources and the manpower. We're going to keep America safe, and ICE is going to do their mission.
So what are the numbers? For me personally, I couldn't care less how many you get. I just want the worst of the worst out. How far along are you on the goals that you set out when you took the job?
We are so far along, Brian. If you look at any of the ones we have arrested now, more than 70% of the people that we've arrested are either convicted criminals or have pending heinous criminal charges, right? So we're taking them out of the neighborhood so they can't reoffend again. And the best thing is, under the last administration, there were so many unvetted people that came in, but we're now finding them. People say that ICE is out there arresting folks that we're not giving their due process, so they're not a criminal. Well, they're criminal in their home countries who knew they can come in through our porous borders. Now we are getting these foreign criminals out.
What's your biggest worry?
I tell you, Brian, one thing that keeps me up at night is all these threats and violence against our officers. 1,000% since last year. Just on the ride over here to the studio, I was dealing with an officer that followed home. He was assaulted. Every day, ICE agents are being assaulted. But what is really the thing the American people need to know is these men and women are so brave. They go out there, they put their vest, put their badge on, and they go out there and they keep America safe. My biggest fear is, one of us is going to get hurt really bad.
Meanwhile, talk about courage. There's 10,000 openings and you had 100,000 applications. So people are willing to do the job. Thanks so much, Todd Lyons. Appreciate what you do.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
More prime time straight ahead.
It's all about safety. And now the blue cities, the left-wing maniacs, yeah, they're stepping it up, making things more safe. So like that, Trump doesn't have to send in the guards. So it only makes sense. Hopefully it works and cities are safer to go visit. Because I haven't been to New York City in a while. Let me know what city you've been to. Comment down below. Oh, and if you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and press on the like. At the very least, so I can keep streaming this show. But hey, I love hearing the news that more and more cities are stepping it up just to make sure that Trump doesn't send guards over there. But in the end, these are left-wing maniac politicians. I don't think they're going to do a good job at protecting the city, but all we could do is hope. As a matter of fact, hope that they can. So like that, the citizens will be safer and Trump doesn't have to send in the guards. Like the number one reason a lot of my left-wing friends say that it's not good to send in the guards because Trump is just going to take over the country and put guards everywhere. Ooh, fear. That's all they got. They know how to put fear in people. But you know what? This is the end of the show. Hopefully you enjoy the show. Listen, I'm going to try to do this every day. My name is Noel over here, still battling MS, but with enough energy to stream these shows through. You heard my opinion. I truly support Trump. Got to say what I got to say. With no fear. With that said, I'm going to get out of here. See you guys later on another show. Peace. Oh, yeah, hit the like button. Don't forget. All right. See you guys tomorrow.